And I didn't have data because when COVID came, my job actually went down, and the training business was also struggling.
Sure.
So I didn't have data to even attend this meeting.
Wow.
So the meeting was supposed to be at 9 a.m. the following day.
Uh-huh.
Dude slept and woke up at 9 a.m.
Oh no.
And I get this call from my mentor, and he says, "Yo, we had a meeting today. Are you joining?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually trying to join."
Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Nairobi Gold Rush podcast. I'm Scott, your host, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer of SafeBoda. And I am interviewing tech leaders in Nairobi who are out there trying to get the gold day to day and to build up our economy and really just show everybody how business is done in Nairobi. So I've got a great guest with us today. We're very excited. We've got Eugene with us. And welcome to the podcast, Eugene.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Scott.
Yeah, and we know you're a great tech leader in Nairobi, and what would be great is if you could just start out and tell us, a little bit about yourself and what you're currently doing for your work here in Nairobi.
All right. Again, thank you. I'll start by the name again. It's
Mhm.
Eugene. Ochieng is the second name.
Yeah.
So I have a background in cybersecurity,
Mhm.
but I later decided to specialize in data science. So right now my journey is a bit more of data science than cybersecurity. So I've had to grow up in different places in this country. So at the end of the day, I find myself in Nairobi rushing for the gold.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and we're grateful. Everything is working out for the best. We meet the challenges every day. We fight the challenges. Whatever comes out of it, we live to do it another day.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's basically about me.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about some of the things you're doing with data science right now.
Right. My data science journey began in the year 2020. It's not long ago. So before 2020, I was all focused in cybersecurity, and I was trying to learn the loops. And for some reason, I figured that cybersecurity is not really taking my heart. So I
Mhm.
decided, I want to try and venture in something else, but it strictly has to be along the lines of tech.
Mhm.
So I have a mentor of mine that actually gave me reasons to move to actually shift to data science.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not going to mention his name. He knows when he sees me. He watches this. He's going to know this. But he's someone in the cybersecurity space. He's a man that wears a lot of hats. So this is what happens. In 2019, we start hearing rumors about COVID-19 and whatnot. We feel it's not with us yet, and we feel it's not gonna hold us anytime soon. From that time, we get into 2020 in the month of March, about the end of March or the beginning of April. No, end of March, and then news starts coming that now we have COVID
Yeah.
in Kenya, and the first case has been noticed somewhere. I can't quite figure out where because it's been long. So I was excited for one reason. I wanted to really experience what COVID-19 is.
Yeah.
But for another reason, I was also scared for the lives of my families because I thought I was super immune to that. It happens to us. So when COVID started hitting, we started having these stringent rules that were being put in place by the government. You cannot travel outside of your city without having been tested and perhaps some sort of quarantine and so on and so forth. And then business also begins getting tough. Before then, I was running a startup called Owaka Robotics. So Owaka Robotics was basically a company that trains kids from the age of 6 to the age of 17.
Okay. So is it like a teaching program for them to build the robotics, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So it
Okay.
robotics and AI. Most of it was for different ages of kids, we have different levels of training.
Yeah.
So at that time, I started thinking. I started that because I wanted to make more money from my daily job. I wanted to just make more money because what do we live for? It's all about the money.
Yeah.
So I decided I want to try and approach corporate.
Yeah.
And something happens. There's a huge startup, probably the highest funded startup in the country at that
Okay.
time,
Yeah.
2020. Whoever follows tech news probably knows the startup I'm talking about. I'm not gonna mention names here.
Yeah.
So these people decide that, you know what, this COVID-19, we are having a lot of problems in terms of satisfying our people on the ground. We want to distribute this FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, to our end customers.
Okay.
But we are having problems because there's tight competition. Almost everybody is now getting into this space.
Sure.
We are having problems to actually getting to know what is the correct price range that we want to price particular products with their SKUs.
Yeah.
So now they say, I get this information from my mentor,
Uh-huh.
and he says, he comes to our tech group and says, you know, guys, I have this opportunity. I know there's someone in here that can be able to do it really good. And I want to give it to someone in this group. I'm not going to look for anyone outside of this place.
Nice.
So I DM him and he tells me, and I tell him, you know, I can do this thing. I can give it a try. I was not the only person who DM'd this mentor of mine.
Yeah.
Some other people DM'd him. And then he says, okay, there's enough money for everybody. So the cake is too big. Everyone is going to get a cut.
Nice.
So what you guys are going to do, sit down, share your knowledge, do the product, and then show me the results. And this is urgent because it is needed as soon as today.
Yeah.
So I have a cranky laptop that I wanted to use for this project because at that time my job was not so demanding. So I
Sure.
decided,
Yeah, like the low end laptop maybe, or
yeah.
yeah.
So I was wondering if this is going to pull it, but I didn't have much of a choice. I have to go with this. So I decided to start on the job. And the other guys who had also sent him messages are now consulting with me and telling me, how are we going about this? How are we going to do this? And, you know, a lot of questions.
And did you guys have this experience before you started with?
I never had an experience,
Yeah.
not me. Perhaps they did, but
Yeah.
from the rate at which they were asking questions, I doubt.
You don't think that? So they basically said, okay, we've got maybe some cash for you guys to come do this work, and everybody
Yeah.
raises their hand.
Yeah.
then-
Yeah, but you see, that
You-
is the beauty
yeah.
of tech. You know,
Yeah.
if you're in a community of tech developers, you know, tech founders, enthusiasts, you're seated in a circle. This is like a WhatsApp group. I'm giving you a case study that I resonate with.
Right.
So you're seated down there and everyone is having these conversations, but you always come up with subjects and say, you know, guys, I want to discuss this topic. Here's a Google link, Google Meet link.
Yeah.
How about you join me over for this conversation
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
So when you're talking to these guys, you give your knowledge and they actually realize that, yo, this guy is really good at this. But you see, talking is different from actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is what made my mentor feel or think that I can actually be good at this.
Yeah.
So that is why he gave me a through pass to that gig.
Okay.
So we get this opportunity and we start consulting each other. But then I figure out I can't do this just by the minor knowledge that I have concerning the leadership classes that I always provide for my colleagues in that group. So I go to school, university. I go to uni, YouTube uni.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, and then I get this Indian guy, and you know, I ask him to show me how I can be able to get this kind of data. The kind of data that I was looking for was pricing data, probably across different counterparts. These are competitors in the same industry and space.
Yeah.
So I have to find out who are the main competitors to this client that we want to work with.
Yeah.
I have to understand how they operate and also contrast that with what my client is doing. And then once I get that, I can be able to now pick this data, including the pricing data for all the products on their portfolios. And I had to find a way of also collecting data outside of the online space. So
Yeah.
this offline data.
Yeah. And how do you go about getting that offline data? Because it seems like it'd be something maybe secretive or kind of closed off, or are those top secret channels how you do
I
that?
don't think I have secrets to what I do.
Yeah.
But I will also be keen not to mention some points that are going to sell me out.
Yeah, sure.
This is my job.
Yeah.
It's what puts.
It's your competitive advantage, I guess.
Yeah. So the recipe is sort of secretive, but there's some portion of it that I can actually give.
Yeah.
So there's this data, online data, pretty straightforward. You build web crawlers, and you can be able to get this data, and it's publicly available data. Let's have that in perspective.
Well, I imagine if there's some web shops or places that have online, you could scrape and pull their data from their SKUs and things like that, maybe. But yeah, I'm assuming to get the amount of data that you need it's not not the most straightforward thing, a specialty that you
True.
probably has been developing, I guess, on how you go about doing that.
Yeah. So like you said, getting this data is not the easiest thing. So first of all, building web crawlers is one sort of business that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I was sort of sifting through these YouTube videos to actually find out how best I can be able to get data from different sites. The most difficult platform to actually get data from is X.
Yeah.
So at that time, I was thinking if I can be able to find someone who can teach me how to crawl X. By then, this was called Twitter.
Yeah.
If I can get someone who can show me how to crawl X, then with that knowledge, I know I'll be sure to crawl all these other websites that I want to crawl. Some of the competitors that you are looking at are actually people who do not use web apps. They actually use Android applications and iOS.
Yeah.
So again, crawling data from Android applications is another
you can't easily
tough
get
one.
to their stuff. You have to have special processes. Yeah.
On this other side, we are getting pressure. We want data. There's also sort of offline data that we needed. Again, getting this data was not easy at that point. We had to look for insiders from those competitors initially. So I would drive to those places and tell these guys, you know what, I want to talk to someone in this position. So when I finally get someone from this position, I would invite them to a club somewhere, sit down over a drink, and tell them, you know what, there's this data that I'm looking for. It's not going to give you any liability. I just want to plug my my crawlers in one of your databases where you work. So all I need is just a 10-minute access. I plug and leave, and then at the end of every week, I'll be punching some amount in your pocket.
Oh, wow.
And who doesn't love money? I mean, this is Kenya, so
you have a lot of people lining up for
of course. I did this because these offline competitors were actually free. I managed to do that for the free. So every time they updated data, right from their pricing data, if they have anything that they want to do internally, that information would naturally sync into my system. And I was excited. So from the time we were told to develop this system, it took me 2 days. And then I handed over and I told my mentor, you know what, I'm done with this thing. This is the sample of data that is being collected. And these are the analytics. This is how the data compares. And then at the end of it, we have this price comparison. We can actually generate prices based on the market forces and all that. During the COVID time, it was difficult to get the right pricing for products because market was fluctuating. It was intense.
The prices were crazy.
Yeah. So he told me that he's gonna set that meeting for me the following day, and I didn't have data because when COVID came, my job actually went down, and the training business was also struggling. So I didn't have data to even attend this meeting.
Wow.
So the meeting was supposed to be at 9 a.m. the following day. Dude slept and woke up at 9 a.m.
Oh no.
And I get this call from my mentor, and he says, "Yo, we had a meeting today.
Uh-huh.
Are you joining?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually trying to join, and my phone is even off." So
Oh
this
no.
this this was quite interesting, and I was panicking because this was one opportunity that was going to get me out.
Yeah.
Some people call us COVID millionaires. We are not
Yeah.
we are not COVID millionaires, but we made some
Yeah.
some money during the COVID
Gains. Yeah.
time. So this was sort of a breakthrough for me that I was looking at, but I needed to actually act on it.
Uh-huh.
So I ran to the shop. Um, I mean, I have to congratulate this person that supported me throughout this time.
Yeah.
There's this lady that runs she actually still runs a shop there.
Uh-huh.
It's a kiosk. So I
Yeah.
went to her and told her, I have a problem. I want airtime.
Yeah. I need
Give
it
me
now.
Airtel. I want to buy data, but just for 20 shillings.
Yeah.
And she gave me that. I didn't pay her money, but I punched that in my phone, and then I joined the meeting.
Uh-huh.
And in that meeting, I met the CEO of the company,
Nice.
the CTO. I met the head of business intelligence. I met a couple of top tier management in the company.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I didn't even talk in that meeting. Just my presence alone. And I was told, what we are looking at is quite interesting. We want you to tweak it in this manner. Just do this and this and this, and then we can be able to work with this data. And they told me, start work now.
Uh-huh.
And I started work immediately.
Wow.
Now the project kept growing because the company, it's
A big company.
it's
Yeah.
a big one, yeah. You actually know it. So I decided I'm going to do all it takes. And every moment I used to give them ideas and tell them, you know what, I think we can bolster this, we can add this, a lot of features. So I was monitoring all these operations from my bedroom. So it happened for the first year, that is 2020, and then we went to 2021. And in 2021, November, I decided to change the name of the company because now I am not focusing in training kids robotics. Now my focus is shifted to building market intelligence tools.
So you actually changed the name of your company
Yeah.
and changed the focus.
The brand and everything.
So you were kind of like working as would you say a consultant for this big
Yeah.
company, essentially? You're doing kind of consulting data science work for them now at this point?
I'm actually consulting for them. At this point,
Were you like an employee, or you were also an employee and had your own company? Like, what was the structure?
Now I'm consulting with them in the basis of this a separate entity. We are a company that is consulting for you guys. Even the invoices I was writing in the name of the company. So I had my own team. I built a small team, a team of around 4. My job was now to look for jobs, because now I figured this is actually something that works.
Sure.
And I started talking to guys from other bigger companies. I think this one I'm going to mention because now it's out of business. It's called Copia.
Copia.
So Copia Digital was also my target, and I started having a conversation with them, and I told them, guys, I want you to look at what we are doing with this other person, and they are in the same line of business as you guys. You think we can be able to do business? So yeah, my job was actually to look for jobs and bring them to the team. Yeah. So for this one client that we already had, a lot was happening in terms of job specifications. So the job description kept piling up. And every time we get a new feature to be added into the system, we ask the client, and they say, that's interesting, let's have it happening. So we do that, and then we send a new invoice and say, now we are not going to be getting this money, we want this amount. And that now gave me the energy to keep pivoting and growing the business stepwise. The name of the company is, at that time now, was House of Intel.
Okay, yeah.
House of Intelligence.
Yes.
So I was having these conversations with different people in the tech space. I was trying to get, I still do try to get feedback from people. I build this product and I augment it with different features, and I showcase it to different places and different people. And you are one of the people that I wanted to show that product to. And I told you, I'm going to burn bridges today.
Yeah.
So, so there's a point we had a conversation with you, and my journey has had a lot of highs and lows.
Sure.
So at that time when I was having a conversation with you and we met through LinkedIn, you gave me your number and told me you asked me to call you. You gave me a time to call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I called you, you kept hanging up.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. So
I think there must have been like maybe a network problem or something, because if I remember, so you tried to call me and then I didn't pick the phone basically at that time.
yeah, you didn't pick. But at some point, you also promised that you're gonna create a meeting.
Yeah.
You're going to invite me for a meeting.
Sure.
I kept checking in to just know
Yeah.
if we can be able to meet, because I had an interesting product that I wanted to explore with the ride hailing platform. But unfortunately, that did not unfold.
The platform that you have, like, it never took off, I guess, or
Yeah. But the dream still lived on,
Yeah.
because at some point I actually got to implement it with another ride-hailing company. I took advantage of the fact that the company was new in the market space.
Sure.
So I used that opportunity to approach them, and then I built a market intelligence platform for them. So the fun about the job that I do is that it can actually be used in any industry at all.
Sure.
So when I figure out an industry and I feel I want to explore its competitive demographics. I want to know who the competitors are, how they operate, what they do at what time, and why they do it, and what people say about them in the socials and all that. The moment I take a competitor X as a target, I usually think around my product and see what I should actually be doing with this product to be able to fit this target, this new target.
Nice. Okay. Well, that means it's very flexible, and you have a lot of potential business out there, I would guess. And so is that still the platform you're still working today? Is things, or have you shifted kind of by now?
I'm not shifting now.
Yeah.
I haven't shifted yet. Like you said, it's a product that has huge potential.
Yeah.
And now as we move, a lot of operations now are going intelligent. So sort of together with the team, we usually try to see how we can be able to pivot not to another dimension of a product, but in the same line of the product, but then we try to augment it with different other features. Because this is an AI product. It's actually, for lack of a better word, we call it AI as a service.
Yeah.
So sometimes we collect data manually in areas where we have not yet figured how we can actually collect data. But then we also have problems with data regulations in this country.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bottlenecks or bureaucracies that are actually getting hold of us. Every moment we try to pivot, we get an obstacle. And getting through these obstacles is one thing that I would never have done by myself. Now I have to talk to people. I have to talk to people who have been in that position before. And that is why they say in tech you really need mentors.
Yes,
you
exactly.
you can never do tech. Maybe I don't have experience in other jurisdictions, but in this country that I know, you can never do tech without mentorship.
Because some things are not very clear sometimes how to go about them, particularly if it deals with maybe the government regulations, or how do you navigate like the privacy laws or things. It's always crazy things, right? That you have to have somebody to guide you and say, if you just talk to this guy or you just go this direction, then you can get something done.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced that, but there's a lot of complicated moving pieces, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
true. What I've seen,
it's a heck of a complication out there. Data privacy laws have a lot of hidden agendas in them. You might actually think that you have totally complied with the data privacy law, but then when you start doing something, someone comes to you and asks you a question, have you done this? and then you realize that, oh my goodness, I didn't even think of it in this perspective.
Yeah.
So now, anytime we want to implement any feature, or anytime we want to start picking a new set of data point,
Right.
we have to consult. I have one person that I consult in terms of legal affairs,
Yeah.
because this is a good friend of mine that has been working for me without asking for any pay.
Yeah.
May God bless him. Amen. So now, this one guy that will come to me and tell me, you're not paying me a salary, but there's something that is happening that you need to check out. Take some caution, because he knows all my infrastructure. He knows where I have complied, and he knows my shortcomings.
Yeah.
So this guy is gonna come to me and tell me, this is what you need to do. If you want me to do it, you just need to pay for my time. His
Yeah.
time is cheap, by the way.
Oh, that's
It's
good. Well,
cheap for me,
yeah.
because we
You're
have
a friend of a relation with them. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So when I was starting to work, like there's a ride-hailing platform that that we wanted to work with. It's actually the first ride-hailing platform. The reason why we wanted to work with them is very simple. We had a product in the pipeline that we wanted to test. We wanted to do a pilot and know if it actually works.
Yeah.
But we did not have someone to work with. But then when they came into market, we figured we can work with them. So when we started having a conversation around the table, the CEO of the company comes and say, you know what, guys, you have not complied with a lot of privacy laws.
Sure.
And for us, we are processing hundreds and thousands of terabytes of data,
Yeah.
personal data for that matter.
Sure.
We cannot be able to implement this until you comply with this.
Yeah.
So now we decide to start looking for ways of complying with these laws. Because now for ride-hailing platforms, there's something about pricing dynamics. Pricing changes. It actually fluctuates in minutes. It is the most volatile space where prices are super unstable.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be able to capture this trend and see how it works. We wanted to also capture information on how people interact with these ride-hailing apps, what they think about these apps, and we also wanted to know what riders and drivers think, how they operate, their personal lives, how they do what they do. Because now the idea is to get intelligence around ride-hailing platforms and to feed them with insights. It is high time that we also start looking at the grievances that these people are going through in the line of duty. Someone thinks or feels they are not being paid enough. One driver alone has over five apps that they are running, and they tend to pick requests based on the prices of each platform. So if, for example, say Uber has the highest rate at a particular time, and Bolt has the lowest rate at a particular time, you get both requests. There's a conflict because someone has requested on this other side where the prices are higher, and on this other side where the prices are lower. And there are some ride-hailing platforms that now have decided to please their clients and hurt their riders. Now they say, you're our client. We are giving you a discount of 30%. So you're going to pay this amount. But the driver here is not content with this amount because he has to pay for fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
He has to also have his own savings, and the ride-hailing platform also requires them to give out whatever amount they need to give out to them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, with my company, SafeBoda, being one of the major ride-hailing companies around, we deal with this on basically a daily basis. I mean, it's the core of the business, right? And it's this idea in economics, I guess, of supply and demand, right? So, there's a pricing point. The driver always wants a higher price, right? The price, increase. The more, the better their livelihood is. And that obviously, we want to be ensure the drivers are well compensated, right? I mean, that's their job, their livelihood. And so you try to strive to get the highest price. And then there becomes a point when the price gets to a place where the customers won't accept. Right. So if I come and tell you, okay, I'll get you a cab to Westlands and the price is going to be 8,000 shillings. You say, oh no, that the price is too much now.
Yeah.
See, so it gets to a point where the customer's trying to drive down and the driver's trying to drive up, and so this idea of supply and demand is a very hard challenge when it comes to data, because like for instance, the ride-hailing company like SafeBoda, obviously we want the price to be higher because we get a more commission, we get more money. So the higher price is always better, but the customers won't accept it. So you are always trying to come up with these models of, okay, where's that sweet spot where everybody is the I guess nobody's ever happy, but like where people the least upset,
Yeah.
See?
Where
So
they all feel fairly treated.
yeah, exactly. Where it's a
There's
fair
never
price.
fair treatment though.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's this idea of the fair. What's a fair price? I mean, you can say this glass of water here. The glass. How much would that be? Well, it's not worth 100,000 shillings, right? Not worth 10,000 shillings. But you get to a point where like, okay, I could see the value of that. Maybe it's 500 shillings is where you go. Okay, I would pay 500 for that, and that's the way it is with most goods. And so the ride-hailing companies, I don't know they're all of their models, but for the most part, it's kind of like being a middle person. It's like an agent kind of. You're trying to be in the middle, and honestly, it's like you want to find the fair price for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. The one thing that, and as a leader for SafeBoda, I'm not speaking on behalf of the company. I'm just kind of saying my personal philosophy. Even though I'm a leader of the SafeBoda company. One thing that a lot of ride-hailing companies do that really can be frustrating is there's this idea of surge pricing, right? So the big ride-hailing companies, they do what we call surge pricing based on data, and it's super common, right? The example I give is I went to the U.S. With my family. We went to this place called Disney World. They have the Disney park, and you go and let's say the taxi, the Uber to get to the Disney park cost 1,000 shillings to go. And then as everybody's leaving the Disney park at the end of the night, and there's thousands of people trying to go home, you try to get a taxi, and all of a sudden they say, oh, it's 6,000 shillings, right? Because they do surge pricing. So they know they know your behavior, they know where you're going. So now it's 6,000 shillings because they know you don't have any other option, right? And so it's a common thing, right? It's not it's something that ride-hailing companies do that to sort of maximize, or the reason that it's done is to get drivers to that location, because if there's not that many drivers and you need to tell drivers, hey, here's the place where you can make money, come here. So it's to match supply and demand is why the surge pricing is done. It's something that as I work with the leadership of SafeBoda, I try to think through, is there a different way to do that? Is there a different way than surge pricing? And that doesn't mean that SafeBoda will never do surge pricing, right? It's sometimes if you want to get a driver, you have to think in that way. But I think we try to look at different alternatives in terms of, when you go to a place and it's normally 1,000 shillings, you want to know when you're coming home, it's probably going to be 1,000 shillings, right? I mean, that's that you want to be sure that the price is fair.
Scott, this pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I think together with the team that I work with, we did our own research before we actually built this product to the finest of the outcome that we currently have.
Sure.
Because we were looking at one thing that you do not look at, the ride-hailing people.
Right.
And even as you talk, I figured you're not even touching on it. And that is one thing that we decided, this is what they're avoiding to do, and we need to try and do it as much as we can. There's something about the consumer.
Sure.
There's the primary ride-hailing company, and there are these sort of indirect employees like riders and drivers. And there's the consumer. So whatever it is that you do, you calculate this pricing using all the strategies that you use. And I'm not going to mention any strategy here because I also want to safeguard my own.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're building this pricing strategies, you tend to forget that there's actually the consumer somewhere. So how do you get to know what the consumer can be able to afford at any given time? And whatever the consumer thinks they can be able to afford, what is the implication in the drivers or the riders' earnings?
Yeah.
And in the long run, how does it also imply to the hailing company as a source of commission?
Yeah.
So there's a trend that we look at.
Yeah.
We look at a trend in terms of the market forces. We usually like to work with market forces.
Yeah.
For one, market forces are not constant.
Right.
They change, it fluctuates.
Sure.
And two, market forces decides how much money is in my pocket.
Right.
So if today the government decides that, you know, this is the level of taxation that you are going to work with,
Yeah.
how then does it affect the end user?
Sure.
This person is going to request for a ride home tonight, but then is going to realize that this pricing is still the same or has slightly gone up.
Yeah.
In the normal hourly rate, because during this hour I know I usually use 200 shillings.
Yeah.
But today this is 220 shillings. This 20 shillings was meant to buy bananas for my kid somewhere.
Yeah.
So now it's 220 shillings. Taxation has already gone up 1%, for example.
Sure.
Then how do you expect this person is still going to be a customer to a ride-hailing platform?
Yeah.
It's gonna shift. It's gonna shift to matatus and whatnot.
Oh,
It's less comfortable, but
Well, if it gets too high, I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the thing is if the price goes too high, we definitely on our side for SafePoda, we see a drastic drop in demand every, because that's what the driver is saying. We need a higher price, but every shilling you increase, people start dropping pretty
True.
rapidly
true.
because you have the matatu as the alternative, and people are saying,
Yeah.
this one I can get to where I need to go for under 100 shillings or 100 shillings, and this one's 5 times the price to take a car. So it becomes quite competitive. But and what I'd say is, and again, I'm not representing SafePoda in this manner. Just I'm talking in my knowledge in general, because I'm not saying that SafePoda does any of these things by any means, but there is this idea of what happens in the offline world or with the offline taxis that are on apps, or even like the bikes, Boda Boda guys, they judge people based on maybe their appearance. If I go to get a taxi, right, the price is twice compared to somebody else. An American guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the area you're coming from. Okay, this guy ordered a taxi from Karen. Okay, this price needs to be higher. There are factors that happen in the offline world that everybody sort of accepts as, they may not like it, but they know that there's this negotiation that happens, or it's late at night, this lady's coming from the bar, she's had a few drinks, so I'm going to charge a little bit extra to, because she doesn't know what she's doing, and there's this world that's out there. And even with some of the ride-hailing companies, like you mentioned, certain times of the day, I took a taxi yesterday to the same location as today. The price was 100 shillings more yesterday, right? So there's, I don't know if it's time of the day of the week. There's differential pricing that happens, and that's the data that gets collected. So I saw a big controversy on LinkedIn, for instance, and they said the claim was, which I don't think it's actually true, but the claim is that on one of the ride-hailing apps that iOS users get charged more than Android, right? So somebody's saying I did it on iOS and Android, and the prices were different on iOS, Apple. The price is higher. So whether that's true or not, I can't say with that company because I don't know what they do. Is it possible? Yeah. I don't think customers like it, right? They don't like being discriminated in that way. So, but that's that company's choice if they decide to do that or not. But yeah, these type of things are happening. Like I said, there's analytics, I guess, is what I would say. Guys like yourself are out there going to companies and saying, hey, we've got this data. We've got the consumer data. We've got the driver data. We've scraped everything. We know what the competitors are doing. Now, here's our recommendations, or here's how you can tweak the model to maximize everything, I guess is that kind of how you would see it from your side?
Yeah, of course. And you know, this actually applies across the board.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only about ride-hailing platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually started working with ride-hailing platforms uh, a little about 6 months ago.
Mhm.
And it's only one organization that you're working with.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you look at even the retail space that we have already been working for over is it 5 years?
Mhm.
In the retail space, you know, you're looking at different demography. You're looking at people differently, because when you
Yeah.
go to a shopping mall here in Karen,
Yeah.
and you want to buy a pack of cigarettes, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
that is going to cost you more than it would cost you somewhere
Yeah.
in Thika Road.
Dandora.
Yeah, the other side of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And if you go to Kiambu side, you know, the area around Runda.
Yeah.
You
Even
know,
more.
Runda and Roysambu, the proximity is not that much. But
Mhm.
when you go to Runda and try to buy a pack of cigarettes,
Yeah.
I do not want to be asked why I use the example of cigarettes. So
Is that something you're quite familiar with? I guess?
yeah, so those two different places have distinct pricing strategies.
Yeah.
So for example, on the other side, you're going to get a pricing discrepancy of over 200 shillings.
Mhm.
And that's normal for example, if you have me coming from Wayaki Way,
Yeah.
say I live around Wayaki Way, not Westland, but
Yeah.
say
Yeah. That side.
somewhere further from Westlands.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm going to be buying a pack of cigar, say at 1,500 shillings.
Yeah.
And when I come to the hub at Karen, I'm going to get that same pack at 2,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Now, I am the one who knows that because I just came from the other side of town.
Yeah.
But whoever lives in Karen and has been a customer at the hub for the longest time
Mhm.
is not going to notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you tell him, you know, from the other side we buy it cheaper, then they're going to ask you, what is cheaper?
Yeah.
What is cheap? The word cheaper doesn't actually apply to some people. So
Right.
what we usually do is, when you want to get the right pricing for the right location,
Mhm.
is you have to look at the market forces in that location.
Sure.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that a time is coming where pricing is going to be fair, in the sense that the pricing in Karen is the same as the pricing in Langata and the same as pricing in Donholm.
Yeah.
There's not going to be such a moment.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing analysis for area X, it has to be based on the market forces at area X.
Yes.
So that is not changing anytime soon.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
what's interesting is that people understand this for the real world. I mean, you understand if you go to this area, you know, a Tusker is going to cost, you know, half the price in this place versus, you know, if you
Yeah.
go to the hub, Karen hub or something, you know, you're going to pay double the price. People understand that and they accept it. But when it comes to digital products, I think it causes more problems because it's more visible, right? So if you, you know, if you log in from, you know, Dandora that side, and then you log in Karen, and then you see a
The
different price,
discrepancy. Yeah.
you're like, what's going on here? I don't know. Why is the price different? You know,
It all boils down to communication. You
Yeah.
know, right now the kind of country that we're living in, not even country, the kind of world that we're living in,
Mhm.
everyone is savvy. They are tech savvy. Everybody understands the dynamics of what they consume at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, based on these dynamics, what are organizations trying to do in terms of their public relations?
Yeah.
How are you communicating this fact to the end consumer?
Yeah.
Are you just assuming that this is Karen, let us charge this amount, this is Dandora, let us charge this amount? These people actually see, because like you said, it is more visible right now.
Mhm.
And everybody now has smartphones. Every reasonable person out here has a smartphone.
Yeah.
And the fact that I am a reasonable human, I am going, and you know, when we are having these demonstrations going on, we were making fun. We were making fun about everything that was happening.
Sure.
That, you know, we as the Gen Zs, we have these smartphones. We get these Uber rides. We go to some fine Airbnbs and we do our thing. Yo, we don't have work to do. Okay, now I want to call myself a Gen Z because no stones. So now as a Gen Z, I would want to go to a place and just sit back. I have no job, so what am
Yeah.
I going to do?
Yeah.
I pull up my smartphone and I start playing around with it. I want to know what actually happened. These guys are smart.
Yeah.
They are going to go into this business dimension, and they want to look at the prices of products or services.
Yeah.
And then they are going to do a comparison, and they are so keen. They are not doing it like in an automated means,
Yeah,
the way we
exactly.
do it, like in large scale, because we build programs to
Yeah,
actually get the
you
data.
can do it quickly with
Yeah, we can do it quickly and in mass.
Mhm.
So when they do this and just get a slight information that this thing is actually not the same, we are actually paying more compared to these other guys, and it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
The big problem here is that the organizations do not communicate these dynamics to the end consumers.
Right.
They'd rather communicate that to their investors and
Yeah.
to the internal teams and whatnot, but they forget that the main people that should actually get this information is us.
Yeah.
So when we are down here, we need to understand why I'm opening my Android app and I'm getting this price, and
Right.
I'm opening my iOS app and I'm getting this
Yeah.
price.
Well, and I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those things that there's really not an easy way to communicate that to consumers, because like you can't tell me like if you and I were to go into a shop together and they say, okay, the price of the soda is 100 shillings for you, but for you it's 200 shillings, right? You can't you say, well, because you're an American, you have to pay 200 while you're paying 100, right? So
Yeah.
there's no easy way to do that public relations, even though we know that it happens, right? You know these things happen, but you can't put on your website, well, if you come from a different country, you're going to get charged double price.
Right. This is the problem, Scott. We get information. We have
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
The way we get this data is on us. That is our side of the cake.
Yeah.
We eat it real well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the kind of data that we get, majorly the side of sentiment.
Mhm.
This information is all in these socials.
Yeah.
If you look at TikTok,
Right.
majorly, because now that is where youths have gone to. And we have also found a way of sifting through audio files to be able to get sentiments from what people say, not what they actually write.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get that kind of information, we look at it from a perspective of why are these people angry?
Uh-huh.
Someone is saying, I bought product X
Uh-huh.
from XYZ outlet.
Yeah.
This was the price. And in fact, recently there's a lady that was complaining that there's a product she bought, but then it had two different prices in the same outlet. But the product is the same, but the prices are actually different.
Yeah.
And she was complaining verbally. The only way we were able to actually catch on that is because we have some sort of voice recognition technique that we use to capture such information.
Yeah.
So when we get that information and we like sift through and realize there's a name of a company mentioned somewhere, we know this is a point of interest for us.
Yeah.
So the complaint that this lady has is not only confined to her. There's a lot of complaints that people come with, and these corporates know. So they know someone is complaining about this and this price discrepancy from these two different outlets.
Yeah.
Is it so difficult to just come out and say, you bought this from this point and you bought this from this point? Ama, you bought this at this time and you
Yeah.
bought this at this time.
We sell at the ones at the front. We sell for a higher price. 'Cause
Yeah.
we know you're just going to make an impulse buying decision, but this one, if you buy the
Now,
back of the
Scott,
store.
tell me, how difficult is it to do that?
Yeah, I guess I mean, it's not difficult. I would say I think it's hard for the consumer to then to digest, maybe, because then they're saying, well, but this one was 100 shillings, this one's 200 shillings, so why?
No, you only digest what you
Yeah.
have information. I have to tell you for
Yeah.
you to digest.
Yeah,
If I don't
exactly.
tell you, then I don't
Right,
expect.
and they're not gonna
Yeah.
tell you. I mean, that's the thing, that I don't know many companies that would actually come out and reveal their secrets.
Is that a secret?
I don't think it's a secret. I mean, I think that's kind of what I say. We all internally know that companies do these things, right? We know that there's price discrepancy. We know that there's these games that they play.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not very transparent. I guess like what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
transparency,
Mm.
and I think and I think it's particularly true in ride-hailing apps for sure. I mean, I know there's secrets we do in ride-hailing that we don't
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
we don't we don't publicize them. But what I would say is, and I'll just use the ride-hailing example because it's what I deal with the most, is we try. I think there's a sort of a difference in being fair and manipulation. I don't, sometimes companies, and not just ride hailing, right? There's shops that really use manipulation techniques, right? They know that somebody is desperate. This happens in healthcare, right? Somebody needs a certain diabetes medication. I remember there's a guy bought the diabetes medication, and all of a sudden he's charging $10,000 per, the medication people need to live. I don't know that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know that that's exactly what happened, but there are these cases where you need this medication. Now the price is super high, and when you're so there's this manipulation when people are like desperate, right? They need this. I think there's a difference in that, other than just, hey, we know that it'll be more convenient to you to pay a little bit higher price, and you're comfortable doing that. So we're going to kind of maximize supply and demand, and supply and demand happens in the grocery shops. I'll pay extra for maybe a product I'm very familiar with that came from the U.S. just because I'm familiar with it. Okay, I'll pay a little bit extra. If it's a good quality product, not the Chinese thing. It's like a good quality product, that I know about. Okay, I'll pay a little bit extra, and I think the companies will know that, so they will, charge more pricing. And that's not, wouldn't say that's really taking advantage. That's just economics matching supply and demand.
Right.
But it's not transparent.
It's not. There's nothing transparent about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I guess one thing you mentioned that there was a way you were kind of going and kind of hooking into competitor databases and getting able to get this information. So as a CTO of a company, how could I protect my database systems from guys that are coming in to scrape my information?
One thing that we know, look at the dynamics of cybersecurity. We know there are people who decided to call themselves hackers. You see, they will penetrate your systems remotely. They will use different techniques to get into your systems. But there's one major weakness that we have that we do not know. Now, I was getting information from individuals.
Inside, yeah. That's where most of the breaches happen.
It is the greatest form of risk for an organization.
Yeah.
So one thing that you need to, but the reason why these people they actually decided, I want to work with you, I will give you that information.
Yeah.
There's no liability for me, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's no liability for you. I just want the data.
Yeah.
And then the kind of people that you approach is this is not a super technical person.
Yeah.
It's sort of like some database admin somewhere. They do not know the repercussions of whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
I'm afraid we take advantage of that at some point.
Yeah.
But it's unethical to an extent. But I'm not stealing the information. I'm being given the information.
Yeah.
And it is for other organizations that have an online presence, it's actually publicly available data.
Yeah.
So I do not see a problem with me getting access to publicly available data.
Yeah.
The only problem with me is that I want to acquire this data in scale. I acquire it faster and mass.
Yeah.
So I know organizations really fear for themselves.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, tech leaders, Scott, you're also a tech leader. Yeah. Tech leaders tend to ignore the smallest signs of failure in their systems.
Yeah.
Things that are actually going to act as loopholes for the enemy.
Yeah.
I'm not nobody's enemy. But I know that this, as much as I'm doing it for the good, there's someone who is doing it just to hurt you.
Yeah.
They want to get that highly highly secretive information from your organization.
Yeah.
And they are going to get it. The reason why they're getting it is one, whoever is giving out this data feels they are not compensated enough.
Yeah.
And they know you're going to give them some extra cash for them to leak that information to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So it's a problem. But then one major thing that that we tend to forget is that without them, people like me are going to go hungry. So
well, in our company in SafeBODA, for instance, like
yeah,
the leadership of SafeBODA, we know data gets leaked. You know, not data. I mean,
yeah,
let's put it this way: if we launch a product, let's say we're going to be launching electric bikes, you know, we have a meeting where we say, okay, we're going to launch electric bikes. By the next day, one of the competing apps will be launching electric bikes.
exactly.
You know, or we're going to do this pricing. We're going to offer this discount to customers for a special day. Within a couple hours, the competitor, you know, has the same.
Yeah.
So we understand that, and you know, we take a lot of protective measures to, well, one to I'd say one to plug the leaks, and two to maybe find out where it's happening from. I think the most creative one I've seen that happened was with Elon Musk. I don't know if you've heard about this, but he knew somebody was leaking his data to the press, or he was, you know, leaking press releases. So what he did is he sent an email to all of his major leaders, and except he changed where the spacing of the periods, and each one was sent an individual email, and he changed the period to put like one space or here. So each person received their own email, but the spacing was slightly different. So when it was leaked to the press, now he saw which email was sent to the press.
Okay.
So he caught them by you know. So
But
so leaders, we know these things are happening, and
mm,
we do take some preventative measures. I would say maybe it's not always easy because, you know, you trust your employees and you trust the staff, but they're doing some funny things
true,
sometimes.
true, Scott. What the product that we run, the product that we have built and run with different players. So this is what happens. We have different aspects of the product. So we have like a general dashboard. So under the dashboard we have different tabs for different visualization purposes. So we actually give you data in form of an API. So you plug an API and you receive this data, so you can visualize it the way you want to visualize it. But we also have a dashboard with a standard visualization that we provide. So in this dashboard, there's different aspects of it. We have pricing strategy.
Yeah.
So when you open a pricing strategy button, then it takes you to a page where you're going to see the different pricing. It's actually real time. So the different real time pricing of all your competitors.
Yeah.
And you cannot work with all the competitors. You only look for those competitors that are key, that you feel are a threat to what you're doing. So you open that pricing strategy. It gives you all their prices. It gives you the analysis. It compares their prices, and then it it runs an algorithm that is going to suggest to you the most appropriate pricing for your own product. And that pricing is supposed to look at also the market forces to ensure that you, number one, you're not underselling, or you're not overselling, or you're not actually losing clients because of poor pricing. So that is number one. Number two, we have a market intelligence section. So this what you said now comes in here. For market intelligence, we have different types of visualizations in there. So the visualizations that we are running under market intelligence is what is your competitor doing right now? What news was in the media, all the media sites about your competitor? What are they planning to do? What did the PR manager say at what point? What was the body language? What do they intend to do in the next 1 week?
Yeah.
And if they have a major launch,
Yeah.
that is information that when you're talking, you might not actually realize that you have said.
Yeah.
You might be talking about a launch and then you touch on an event that is going to take place during the launch. That
Right.
event alone is enough to give insight to a
Right.
competitor.
What's happening? Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the kind of flags that we tend to pick from these sites, and it is real time, so that if something is said right now or something is posted in any socials right now, you as the client is going to get it in real time on the dashboard.
Sure.
So every time you have this tinkering bell that is going to notify you that, hey, XYZ Enterprise is planning to do this.
Yeah.
This is what the CTO has said. The CEO was seen with so and so at a particular place. So
Yeah.
it's massive data.
Yeah.
So when this happens, then you're able to tell that someone is about to hit on the bar.
Yeah.
And instead you take the hit first.
Yeah.
Ahead of them. And
Right.
then they start asking, how did these people know you want to do this? Now I'm helping you answer your question.
Yeah.
How did these people actually know that you wanted to do this?
Yeah.
You're forgetting that even walls have ears.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a weakness, because if you have employees inside an organization, if you have plans to have a retreat, not a retreat, a team building event next month, an employee is excited. An employee is going to tell the wife, we have a team building happening. I'm so excited about it. The wife goes out. My husband is going to a team building event. So now, how do you expect that an outsider, is not going to take on that information?
Yeah.
No,
it's very tricky, and so companies have to be very careful with the information they share.
They can't be more careful. They can't be more careful than they are. So
no, it's tricky. I mean, we know we try to be very secretive about stuff within our company, and we're not the type of company that we don't talk about how much money have we raised, or a lot of those details. A lot of companies, they really boast about, oh, we raised 100 million.
I give that to you guys. I have looked for that information for eternity.
We don't talk about it. It's part of the culture, and it's not to be secretive necessarily, but it's it's like, this is our information, so we don't need to talk about it. It's more internal. All right. So we try to be very careful, even events or products or launches. Even our marketing team, they don't really talk to others. So it can be kind of crazy. Yeah.
So you're a tech leader. I'm not interviewing you. I'm just asking.
Sure.
You're a tech leader in a ride-hailing space. Would you confidently stand somewhere and tell me that, I am sure you have nothing on me, nothing in the sense that any sort of information that could support my competitors in outwitting me in the industry? Would you stand somewhere and tell me for sure that there's something I don't know, or there's something that you feel?
No, I mean, like I say, I know there are I know there are things that get leaked. I would say companies are out there doing that, but the good thing is with SafePoda, we don't have a lot of like really crazy secrets or anything that that would be damaging. It's more like various strategies and pricing and everything. If you run a company with integrity and you try to do the right things, I mean, you're not always going to make the right decisions, right? You're going to make mistakes. But when we have integrity, like, it's hard to get like those corporate secrets. I know some companies, like, the CEO has done something scandalous, or like they're involved in these things they shouldn't be involved in. I feel pretty comfortable that with our company, at least, we don't get involved in those things. But I don't know if that sort of makes sense, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, can you get our pricing? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's something that could be scraped. Our maybe even like information on a launch we might be doing in a couple weeks. Sure, I mean that's possible. Yeah. We know what happens because, like I said, our competitors sometimes seem to be one step ahead of us in some things, but that's okay because you know, yeah, we stay ahead. I mean, we're aware of it, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah.
So how'd you kind of get into this? I mean, where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? I mean, we talked a lot about what you're doing, but like, to get into this career and kind of come to this point? I mean, it seems like you'd have to come for somewhere to get excited about this.
Yeah. I was born and bred in the lakeside town of Kisumu. Yeah. So I grew up there, went to school there. I completed my secondary school there, and then I got an invitation to go to Machakos University, Machakos County.
Yeah.
So I joined Machakos University to do a bachelor of science in statistics and programming.
Wow.
It's not a wow. There's trouble coming.
Yeah.
So statistics and programming was so sweet just from mentioning the name, and I would get people excited to listen to what I had to say. Guys, I'm taking statistics and programming, especially when I was in my first year. Is there another year? Actually, first year was the final year for me. So I get into the university and I start attending these classes. My uncle decides he's going to be paying my school fees. My dad, for some reason, is not in a position to do that. My mom, neither.
Yeah.
So I'm at school. My uncle is paying that school fees. I have been made to apply for these HELB loans.
Yeah.
The first loan comes in. I get 45,000 shillings credited to my account. The first batch of 1,000 shillings that touches my account since I was born at that time. Very excited. I eat all the money, forget to pay school fees.
You didn't pay the school fee.
Yeah.
The loan.
Yeah, that was that was a hit for me.
Yeah.
My uncle gets mad. He says he's not going to pay my school fees. He's stopping, so he stops, true to his words.
Yeah.
And then I'm left in Machakos and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. My first exam that I did, I actually failed in a calculus unit, a calculus mathematics.
Yeah, it's not an easy subject to be getting into.
Yeah. I know. So I decided I'm going to alter my results because I have to please this human being to pay my school fees. He's human, so he's gonna get mad if he realizes that I've started by a fail.
Yeah.
And he he gets to me and asks me. He lives outside the country.
Yeah.
So he says, Eugene, I paid your school fees and I want to see your results. I say, I left my results at school and I'm very far from school right now.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, immediately I get back to school, I'm going to furnish you with those documents.
Sure.
But then I'm at school at that time and I say now I have time. I'm buying time to be able to find a way that I can be able to alter these results. And I start looking for whiteout, this whiteout pen.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine tells me, no, whiteout is going to be shouty. Yeah. So I mean, he'll be able to see there's a whiteout somewhere here. So let's do this. Load this document on your machine. Let us go pay for a service that can be able to
like Photoshop
edit
or something.
This. Yeah, Photoshop.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, I don't know how to use Photoshop, but of course that will be very helpful. So as we are doing this, I remember before I submitted these results to my uncle, I fell sick.
Yeah.
And in my sickness, I think he got an opportunity to actually get back at me and told me, your job is to go to school and get sick and play around with girls, Then I'm like, okay, I think this is over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was actually trying to tell me that it's over indirectly. I didn't take it in bad faith.
Yeah.
I took it positively, but then I had to get back to the drawing board. I'm in campus. This is my first year. I think the second semester, mid semester, second semester. So I tell a friend of mine, I don't have money to pay my rent. I don't have money to feed. So I want you to host me just for a bit. I'm trying to
Sure.
figure out the next steps in my life.
Right.
He agrees and he brings me in. As much as during the weekends he would bring in girls to the house, so I had to go somewhere and sleep in the classes.
Yeah.
But then now I have not paid fees, so my student ID is also not valid because I cannot access the school compound.
Oh.
So I have to find some hidden corner in the streets to sleep.
Wow.
It was a
That's pretty tough.
difficult
That's pretty
time.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And this is over in Machacos, I guess. Or
this is in Machakos,
yeah.
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 Yeah, so I walked to a hospital in Machakos. It's a big hospital, not a government facility, though it's private. It is run by by Catholic Church.
Catholic. Yeah.
I'm not mentioning the name.
Sure.
So I went to that hospital and I requested to meet the IT admin because at that time they did not have proper teams like cybersecurity team, say the data administration team. Like it was just the IT administrator. So the IT administrator takes care of all the operations in the server room. He's actually still the same person who is doing technical assistance to all the staff. So I go there and I request to meet with the guy. The guy is George. I can mention the name because he knows
He knows you,
me
yeah.
and he knows the struggles that I went through in his hands.
Wow.
So I was given a chance to talk to him and I told him, bro, I just want a job. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with my life. I was doing statistics and programming. I can actually build softwares for you guys. If you want to automate any processes, I could be in a position to do that for you guys. But I just want you to pay me enough to feed and to pay my rent.
Yeah.
But the guy said, we don't have a job.
Huh.
But I could evidently see that he's overworking. So why would you tell me you don't have a job and you're evidently here running up and down?
Right.
So he told me for a second time, we do not have a job. So I figured I have to do something. I go back to my friend's place with a cranky laptop. Of course, I have a history with cranky laptops. So I power it up and I start Googling how to hack a hospital system.
Oh.
That was the weirdest statement that I ever Googled. And my friend told me, I don't have enough, because he was actually hotspotting me with internet. I don't have enough internet. Go to the school library. And I told him, bro, my student ID is expired. Dude tells me, I will go with you and I will sneak you in.
Wow.
So we go with this guy. He used to be my very close friend, and we used to play rugby together. So he was my teammate. He was my friend. He
So
was
he's gonna
my
sneak you into the
housemate.
library to
Yeah. He actually sneaked me into the library. Thanks, man. His name is Mike Ochieng, my namesake as well. So we go to the library, and I start doing my research. I have never tried anything to do with penetrating systems at any point, but this was actually a golden chance for me. I do a bit of research, and I get this very good Indian guy who can actually
always the Indian guy on the YouTube.
Yeah. Indian guys, man, I have a history with Indian guys on YouTube, and these guys are good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will speak English and mix English with Hindi, their language. But with passion, you're actually going to understand what they say.
Yeah, my wife always says, "Why are you watching videos about Kubernetes?" And
Yeah. Oh man, that
Those
was
those guys on YouTube say, "What are you watching?"
They're the best. They're the best. So I did that research. It took me a week, and I knew I do not need all the skills. I just need a walkthrough. I just need to walk through this video as I do the thing. And I went back to the hospital and I told this guy, I have come to, like the story in the Bible where Jesus was giving a story of how persistence can actually get you what you want.
Yeah.
You will ask and ask. And finally, there's this rich man in the Bible who said, you've been bothering me for a
Yeah,
long
just
time.
leave me alone.
Take
Come
it
on
and
in,
go.
come on, yeah.
Yeah. So I decided now I want to try that strategy. And I went back to the hospital and I requested to talk to this guy. He chased me away on that first day, but today again, I did not even think that he was going to accept to talk to me.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he did. But then what did he have to tell me? We have no job here. I told him, okay. So I went back. I borrowed money from my mom. I told her, Mom, I'm so hungry. I have not eaten for 2 days. I need money to feed. No, I needed money for data.
Yeah.
So now I bought data and I started
No food, but you buy it.
Yeah, I started following this script, the Indian script, step by step by step by step by step. At some point, I had to stop and run to the hospital, to the facility, because I need to get the first thing I think I needed an IP address. So I go there and connect to a Wi-Fi. Now I went to pose as a patient.
Mm-hmm.
I ask for the password of the Wi-Fi and I'm given the password and I log in. I log into the Wi-Fi network and I acquire the IP addresses and then I get back to the house. And then I I followed that stepwise, that process, the Indian process.
Yeah.
And then I finally managed to do what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was very simple. I wanted to implement a denial of service attack. Now, denial of service attack is not a major attack.
Yeah.
But to an institution that has constant flow of clients coming in, there's a payment system that is attached to the main system. Onboarding all patients requires you to actually be on top of the game.
Yeah.
It needs speed. So for a whole day, these guys were unable to operate digitally. So they were taking all these details manually. And I was not aware of that actually. That was made known to me at the court.
So you kicked off the denial of service attack and then
I was not sure if it was working.
Yeah.
I just assumed that this thing is actually running because from my machine I can see things working out just fine. So probably those people might be going through trouble right now, but it is working. It is working on my side. So let me just assume that it is doing them the damage I wanted them to go through.
Sure.
Yeah. So that did not stop for 2 consecutive days. And the third day, this friend of mine told me to, escort me to school.
Mm-hmm.
It was a time such as, it was about 3-4 p.m. And I was at the library and I was enjoying the game, properly enjoying the game. I was trying to find different ways of, making this activity more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got me in the library.
Really? They caught you?
Yeah. It wasn't so bad. They took me to the station for a week. It's funny because I was never presented to the courts for all that time, a week, and I thought maybe there's something interesting going on. And the last day, I was supposed to be taken to court. Now, Machakos law courts. So I was in the courts, and I didn't have a lawyer. There are those pro bono lawyers at the court that I wanted to request to help me. Now I'm trying to explain what I'm explaining to this lawyer here. I don't know if they are lawyers or advocates. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this person is not understanding what I'm saying. The language is too technical. The guy is not getting the
like,
point.
what are you doing? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, man, I have a court session coming up in like 30 minutes. I need you to understand this thing very fast. But again, you're doing it for free, so I can't dictate how fast you get it. I was put behind the dock and my case was read out. And I had no defense. I accepted. I pleaded guilty.
Oh,
I was asked, you have been accused of doing X, Y, and Z. Plead guilty or not? I said, I plead guilty, but I want to ask for forgiveness.
Oh, no. Your forgiveness is
I am telling you that was
prison.
that was one incident that I have never. I think I have the clip somewhere because my friend was recording the court
Yeah.
session
Yeah.
from the back of the courtroom.
Oh wow.
So now I had to, and then it was interesting because we did not have these laws that have been enacted
Right.
recently. So cybercrime laws were not enforced at that time.
Yeah.
I think that was part of my luck.
Mhm.
So I was told I'm going to serve for a period of, how long was that? Was it 6 months or what? I can't remember clearly, but it was a period of about that time. And later that evening, I was not taken to prison, by the way. I went back to the station and I was like, look, the history that I have is that when you come from the courts, if you're guilty, you either pay cash bail to go out or you go to prison. This is a police station. This this is not prison.
Yeah.
And that evening, at around 6-ish, 6
Mhm.
p.m.,
Yeah.
I see George.
Mhm.
George came to see me, and he came with food. I saw a flask, a food flask,
Wow.
and he told me, I was called out, and he told me, Eugene, uh, what you did was wrong. If someone ever denies you an opportunity to work with them, just explore other avenues. You don't have to go
Yeah.
the other way.
Don't break their system.
Yeah, yeah. So the guy gave me food. I ate, and after the feast, he told me, "You getting out of this place, but there's one condition: you have to undo what you did."
Yeah. So the was the attack still running on their system?
Yeah, the attack was still running. No one, I mean, I don't know. Maybe at that time, the infrastructure for cybersecurity was not really in place
Yeah.
because people were thinking there's nothing like hacking.
Right.
If you hear hacking, you're talking about Facebook has been hacked. You
Right.
know, hacking down here, it doesn't. So I was given an opportunity to undo what I did.
Yeah.
I was even unable to undo what I did.
Oh no.
I was unable to undo that.
You didn't know how to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it took me time because I had to go back to my Indian guy
Uh-huh.
on YouTube and ask him. I was actually asking YouTube. So the Indian guy pops up and tells me how to undo what I did because he's the one who told me how to do it. Anyways, so when I undid, when that finally happened, I managed to get a small paying job with the hospital.
So even after you brought them down there, they said, okay, well,
Yeah,
you're pretty good at hacking, so
I
we'll
don't know
give you
if I don't know if they said I'm pretty good at hacking, but they said we have something for you.
yeah,
So maybe they were having pity on
some
me.
sympathy. Yeah.
Yeah, but they gave me something to do.
Wow.
Totally zero unrelated with hacking.
Yeah.
They were paying me 10,000 shillings. So that money was enough for me. It could pay my rent, it could buy me food.
Yeah.
And that is how I started surviving. And I went to this institution called Indian Institute of Technology, online learning.
Uh-huh.
I now shifted from statistics and programming at Machakos University.
Yeah.
I now went to information system security and digital forensics
Mm-hmm. Wow.
at Indian Institute of Technology.
So you had the Indian guys teaching
yeah,
you.
yeah. I wanted now these guys to be the ones to teach me my trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completed my studies at IIT, and then I actually graduated ahead of my counterparts, the guys that we entered uni with.
Yeah.
I graduated ahead of them.
I guess the online you can go at your own pace more. Or,
Yeah.
do it.
You can actually learn faster.
Yeah.
And get out of school and go find something to do.
Sure.
Yeah. So after that, then I started my first company. Called Powerman Engineering. That was not my company. That was my dad's company, but
Yeah.
it was not running. So I sort of kicked it off.
Yeah. Try to help out. Yeah.
And I started digging boreholes.
Okay.
I was marketing a boreholes business. So I was telling guys, we are borehole experts. We've been digging them for years.
Yeah. Is that what your dad used to do? Like,
No. My dad used to do electrical engineering stuff.
okay, yeah.
So now I'm bringing new business, but again, as ethical as it gets, I was telling people that we've been digging these boreholes for
You've
years.
you've never actually been digging them.
I don't know how to dig a borehole. Something about YouTube again. A friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, his name is, I'm forgetting his name, Armstrong. So
Mhm.
Armstrong was also in the uni, but for some reason he was also unable to proceed with his learning.
Uh-huh.
So he got out and started learning forex exchange, so
Yeah.
the trade. So he's learning how to trade forex, and I'm there trying to talk to him. And this forex of yours, is it gonna give? I have a company. Come, let's run the company. And the guy tells me, Eugene, when are you going to get a borehole to drill? Do you know how much a borehole costs? It's about 5 million shillings or
Yeah.
more.
It's very expensive.
Who is
Yeah.
going to trust you with that money? Do you even have a car to show that
You need to have the machines, the
yeah,
truck,
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he tells me, come, let's learn forex here. And I was like, okay. So we both have what we feel is going to work for us. Let us do it. But then my friend is doing pretty well right now. And I was telling him, I was joking with him the other week. I was telling him I want you to teach me forex trading. And he tells me, you first teach me how to dig boreholes. And I tell him, you know what? I never dug a single borehole. And right now, whatever it is that I'm doing has nothing to do with borehole drilling.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in between, but my schooling was quite an extra one. It's quite a story. But then people used to think I'm smart.
Mhm.
I never thought I was smart when I was going to school. All my high school life, I never thought I was smart, but they all kept saying I'm smart.
Mhm.
So maybe right now is the time to start realizing how smart I am, but it's too late. If a fellow adult tells you you're smart, it doesn't really hit the way it would hit in a kid's mind if an adult tells them they are smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
But life has happened, and I think that was the most exciting period of my life, school
Yeah.
life.
Oh, it seems like it was quite crazy, and you had I guess you, for instance, you didn't end up in prison, which was good. I can't imagine
Scott,
being in prison.
that's you mentioned prison, and I remember there's a time I was going back to school.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was in my third form 3.
Yeah.
So I was going back to school, and my dad had already resigned from work.
Yeah.
And that evening, oh, my sister should not watch this. So
Oh
that
no.
that that evening, I leave home to school. My school was a distance; it was quite far from home. So I left home and I got to Kisumu town now, at around noon.
Mhm.
I know I'm supposed to go to school, so I decide I'm not going to school. I see beautiful ladies in town,
Yeah.
and I say I must talk to one of these.
Mhm.
And I start buying time and saying, talking to them during the day might not be as interesting,
Yeah.
because they might also be scared of actually giving in to my
Yeah.
demands.
Yeah.
So I decide I'm gonna stay here and and wait for dusk. So I'm in town. It's getting dark, and I get to there's a business center somewhere. It's like a business buildings all around, and then they're fenced. And in there we have small bars where
Yeah.
people drink. We have wines and spirits that sell. So it's all dirty business in there.
Yeah.
And I find myself in there because I saw a beautiful lady go in there, and I
You start
say,
chasing her. Yeah.
"Yeah, I want to chase this one." And I go. And then while I'm there, like I told you, it's an enclosed environment, and only the entrance is here. So there's only one entrance, and it serves as the exit as well.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I hear people jumping over the roofs, the mabati roofs.
Uh-huh.
And I hear mabati everywhere. Everyone is running helter skelter. And I look at the exit. I'm still naive, and I'm scared. This is not my kind of thing.
Right.
I was only trying to chase this lady. I didn't have any ill intentions. And then I look at the exit and I see the Grand Tiger. You know what a Grand Tiger is?
No, I don't guess so. What
The
is it?
police, the
Yeah.
police
The big
vehicle,
bus.
not the bus. I don't know what the name of. It's a pickup. This pickup that
Yeah. Oh,
police
yeah.
use,
Okay. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Land Rovers
Yeah. It's
they use.
blocking the
Yeah.
exit.
So the Land Rover has brought its back to the entrance.
Hmm.
So if you're going to run through the entrance, the only exit is into the van, into
Yeah.
that. So,
You're in a place you're not supposed to be, and they're coming to.
yeah.
What was their reasoning of like why the police was there collecting
No,
people?
those
Was it
are
uh,
illicit brews
yeah,
that are
yeah,
being sold
the
there.
home brew is being sold there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And then it was 10 p.m. Even the
yeah,
local bars are supposed to be closed by that time,
yeah,
right? They don't have licenses to operate beyond
right.
that time. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, you're in an illegal place then.
Yeah, I found myself inside the police vehicle.
Uh-huh.
But then I was asking myself a lot of questions. So if today my mom is to receive a call and be told that I'm at the police custody, and the reason why I'm there is because I was caught somewhere in an illicit brew station.
I don't know if you had one of those moms that would be beating you. So
Yeah,
really.
and also my mom trusted me a lot, and she still does,
Yeah,
and she doesn't know this story. That's why I fear my sister should not watch this.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
it already happened.
So how long did you have to stay with the police? For the night, or did you pay your
Like
way
one
out?
minute,
Yeah.
1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw men do the best that men can do.
Yeah.
Someone will come and jump into the van, but then still find a way from the other side, from the opposite side of the van. And I figured, wait, I can also do this.
Yeah. Wow.
I found myself on the highway running, and I was almost hit by the car. And I was thinking, what if a police shoots me and says I was running away from a crime,
Yeah.
from a criminal? But God was there for me.
For those illegal drinking things, hopefully the police aren't too concerned with shooting people from running.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Hope so. But
I was lucky.
yeah,
And that day I made sure I slept at my auntie's place because she lives in town.
yeah,
So I went there and said, I lost money. I don't have anything, so I could not proceed to school.
yeah,
The money was right in my pocket. I
yeah.
just needed an excuse that I could use so that I can get off the hook
Yeah.
from
So
being
so your
judged.
mom thought you were just trying to go to school, and you.
Yeah. I
Wow.
like the way you put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I think a lot of kids, get into these type of situations sometimes.
I
Hope-
know.
I have a son. He's 12 now, but hopefully once he becomes a little bit older, we don't have to deal with those type of.
Right.
I've already had the daughters, so
Mm,
luckily nothing too crazy. But you get nervous as a parent, because the things you did as a child. So it's like
true.
it's
True.
kind of really crazy. Well,
Uh,
that's very amazing. So you kind of went through this turbulent time. You made it through. You got your school done with the online Indian guys. You made your way now, and it's very exciting to see the challenges that you went through and how you kind of found your way after going through all of that. That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's quite
True.
interesting.
Mm.
All right, cool. I think that's about the questions I have for you. Is there any other topics that you want to be sure to cover while we're here?
Not today.
Not today. Well, maybe
Not today.
for next time. I
Yeah.
think we can.
I actually I was talking to one of my partners.
Mhm.
We are doing there's a partnership that we have and we are running together. It's an errand business.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him and I was telling him I'm going to meet this court gentleman
Yeah.
and I would like you to also turn up.
Sure.
But he was unable to do that.
Yeah.
And he told me if I have to come on board, I'm going to handle conversation about the operations of the business and the
Yeah.
growth, but you are going to handle the technical bit. I told him there's nothing technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting venture that we are doing. I didn't want to talk about it
Sure.
alone. So
Okay. Well, definitely we'll try to schedule another time
yeah.
to get more into detail. That would be really awesome. Okay.
Right.
Well, great. I mean, Eugene, it's been great having you on the show. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And for everybody out there, all our listeners, stay out there, keep getting the gold. You can see there's multiple ways to go about it. You can even if you're hanging out with the police and hacking into hospital systems, you can still be on the path to the right way to be successful in business. So hopefully you've learned a lot, and be sure to tune in next time to Nairobi Gold Rush, where you'll learn lots of good lessons like this in the future. So thank you for your time, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you.